Hi guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to Femhead. Today we're going to talk about running. So I'm very excited because this year I can finally get back to running. I had to take last year off because of pregnancy, postpartum. Just running was not going to happen for me, and that's okay. When I was pregnant with Theo, he was just sitting so low that he was just right on top of my bladder, and so I couldn't run any distance, not even like down the block, without getting this like overwhelming urge of just like pressure on my bladder. Oh my gosh, I have to pee, even if I just went to the bathroom before I left the house. And I've also heard that if you get that sensation, to not push it. So I hiked, went on walks, and rode my bike instead. But Theo's on the outside world now, as we all know, and I am 7 months postpartum when this video is going to be going up. So I am ready to get back at it. I am not a winter runner. I could have started running probably a couple months ago, but I just am not a cold weather runner. I am a cooler weather runner person. I find I do best when it is cooler out, but I am not the one that's going to lace up my shoes and go run in the snow. That's just not me. I'm not coordinated enough. I don't enjoy it. It hurts my lungs. So I knew that, okay, when March rolls around, that's when I'm gonna start running and training and what have you. And a few years ago when I was running a lot more, and I think I was training for my marathon, and then the following year I did a half marathon with my mom. I made videos about it and you guys really seemed to enjoy that. So I thought, what the heck, I'm gonna make a little running series this year for you guys, since so many people seem to enjoy those videos. And I think I'm not an expert, like I honestly don't even know what I'm doing. I wing it half the time, but I also think that's important to see people who aren't like lifelong runners who get, sub 2 hour half marathons and are just, ripped and, your typical what you think of when you think of runners. I think it's helpful to see just normal people like me running, because I think that encourages other non-runners like myself to think, oh yeah, I can do it. Like if she can do it, I can do it. And I want to be that source of like motivation and inspiration for other people. Like you don't have to be someone that's been running since the dawn of time. Like if you've never run before, that's okay. You can go out and get started and enjoy it. The videos that I, in my mind right now, are planning to make, I'll put them right here. How I create my training plan and choose races, getting started running with jog, walk, intervals. Is it intervals? See, I don't even know. Gear I use to run, like clothes, shoes, accessories, what I bring with me on runs, things you need to do besides just going out on runs, finding running routes. Those are the ones I have right now. So if you have any other like running related videos or topics you want me to cover, let me know down below. So today we're going to essentially talk about my plan of attack. Before I even start running, this is how I plan it all out. Let me reiterate, I'm not a professional. I'm just your average Joe putting together a little training plan for herself. But if you are some professional runner, like, please do not come at me. I have just said I'm not a runner. I'm just sharing my experience and stuff. So don't come at me, because people just love to be the all-knowing gurus in the comment section. So the first thing you want to do is choose your goals. Like what type of races do you want to do? Distances, I guess, are a good place to start. For 2020, I set the goal of running a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and doing a sprint triathlon. Obviously, a triathlon is a little bit different than just running because you also have swimming and biking. And I feel like this is very doable. I know I'm not gonna have the time to train for a full-blown marathon, so I hopped online and looked for races around me that were the distances I wanted, ones I was available for, and also were far enough out that I had time to train up to that distance, and ones that interested me. So if you don't know, Michael produces races. Like that's his job, that's his company, he just does events, which is awesome, but sucks because I always work them, so I can't participate in them. I mean, I'm probably biased, but him and his team put on such good events. I just wish I could do his races and I could just check them all off, but I work those, so I can't do those. We also have friends that put on races. So I will say hop online and do some Googling, find some races around you, write them down. Next, you're gonna wanna go to Pinterest. I know, Pinterest. And you're going to type in blank training plan. So whether that's a 5K, half marathon, or full, like type it in and start scrolling through them. The level of runner you are. Couch to 5K is a good one to look at, or like couch to half marathon, I'm sure is even one, or like beginner half marathon training plan, something like that. Or you could do intermediate, advanced, whatever. I'm sure if you're an advanced marathoner, like you don't need to go on Pinterest to on your training plans. So things to look for when you're scrolling through and looking at training plans, because you're going to see a lot. So this is what I look for. Where does the training start? Is this plan already assuming you can go out and run 4 miles? But you can't run 4 miles because you can't even run 1 mile. Find a plan that has a starting point that's not too far away from where you are. One thing I always like to do when I'm getting back into running at the start of the season, usually in the spring around March, is walk, jog. I'm not going to go out and run a mile. I could probably do it, but it wouldn't be fun, and I would be less motivated to go back out the next day and run. The next thing to look at is like the overall timeline for this plan. Does it fit into the amount of time, the number of weeks or months that you have before the races that you would like to participate in? And if not, can you tweak it to fit the time you have? The next thing is, how many days a week does it have you running, and is this realistic for you? Back when I had much fewer responsibilities, I didn't have a kid, like I could go out and run 6 days a week, 7 days a week if I wanted to. But this year I definitely can't go out and do a full-blown run every day. And I also want to incorporate other things as well that I lacked in previous training plans. And going along with that, does it have built-in rest, cardio, strength training? But just because a plan doesn't necessarily include them doesn't mean you can't add them in. So once I find a plan or two that's pretty close to what I'm looking for, I will then steal from that and create my own personalized plan from it. What days of the week do I want to run? What day of the week am I going to do my long run? I need to add in a few weeks of kind of walk jog increments to build up to where this plan is starting from. I think the one I was looking at started at like 2 to 3 miles, which is pretty good. That's a pretty good beginner one. But even that, I'm not there, and so I know I want to give myself some time to work up to that. I also like to put the actual dates in for those weeks because it helps me then plan out which weeks am I going to be out of town, which weeks am I going to be working events, where do the races that I want to do fall within my training timeline. If you're training for a longer distance, like a half or a full, you can find races that fit into your training plan. So you can go out and run a 5K on a Saturday instead of running, 3 miles by yourself. I know a lot of people that do full marathons will do a half at some point in their training. Feel it out, get that energy from being in a race atmosphere, good test of like where they're at training wise. In years past, I've stupidly taken the time to design a training plan on Canva. Looking back, I'm like, so much more time I don't have. So this year I opened up a spreadsheet in Google Docs and just made it in the columns instead of creating the grid and the boxes to make the calendars. I don't know what I was doing, but I had a lot more time back then. This way I could easily just shift things around, move it and edit it, and it wasn't a whole big design thing. Honestly, it doesn't need to look nice. I just need to be able to look and go right, this week I'm doing this, today I'm doing this. The first column that I have is the date for that Monday. The next 7 columns are obviously Monday through Sunday. And this is where I went through and decided okay, I'm going to run on Mondays. I'm going to do some sort of yoga or stretching on Tuesdays, run on Wednesdays, and then alternate between hills and sprints on Thursday, run on Fridays, rest on Saturdays, cardio training on Sundays. And that's a tentative plan for right now, and obviously that's very easy to change and you can just move entire columns around, and so it's going to be great. The next column is the walk jog increments that I'm going to be doing for the first several weeks. Then finally I have 2 columns, one for races I'm working and one for travel, so I know what I have to work around. That's where I'm at as far as having a training plan in place. It doesn't work out necessarily perfectly to where, okay, 12 weeks, 16 weeks from now I have a race. The half I want to do is actually this fall, which is a long ways away, and I don't want to burn out before then, so I'm doing just a much more gradual training plan to get there, incorporating different races and stuff along the way to just have a fun summer running wise. So I want to know down below, how do you go about creating a training plan? Are there any races that you're excited for this year? And also let me know down below what topics and questions you want me to cover in this little mini running series I'm gonna do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to follow along with this little series, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!